Hello, this is Alan Wheeler on my channel where I usually talk about tarot and spirituality. And in my last video, I said I might make another or a series if it went smoothly. I think the recording went smoothly enough. And as it turns out, it got one like, and I think there were 3 views that actually watched it all the way through. So I would gladly make a video for one person, so that's enough inspiration for me. So I believe the title of this will be Devil's Advocate 2, and I may make a playlist and a satanic or sinister reading of Genesis chapters 11 and 28. And of course, sinister means left hand. And so it's another left-hand path interpretation of sacred scriptures, which might be considered blasphemous by some. In fact, keeping to the young, barely practiced tradition of the first video, I'm going to rip out the passages that I want to talk about and take them captive to myself and have a look at them away from the traditional interpretations. So the passages are Genesis 11 and 28. They're both famous ones. The latter is Jacob's dream, that people will be familiar with as Jacob's ladder. And that is in fact better probably described as a stairway to heaven. And I do want to compare this to Led Zeppelin's song Stairway to Heaven in a moment. But this, I believe it's been posited that this stairway in which Jacob has a dream, it seems to be a gateway to the heavens, and he sees angels going up and down on this staircase. And it's been posited that I'll go ahead and draw it right on the passage, that it looks something like this, and the angels would descend and ascend on this structure in his dream. Those familiar with ancient cultures will recognize the ziggurat, and this is perhaps what was envisioned by Jacob. This is also possibly what was known as the Tower of Babel from Genesis 11, when the famous story when the languages were confused, according to the myth, and people were scattered across the face of the earth. The Tower of Babel has always reminded me of the Tower card. And so here's one artful depiction from the Morgan Greer Tarot, and it's pretty traditional imagery as lightning is striking the top. People are falling headlong from this structure that is on fire and being destroyed. Waves crashing into it from below. The Marseille, the older Marseille, pardon my French, version also shows the top, the crown being blasted off the top of this structure and people falling, but the name is translated House of God. So it's actually the religious structure that's being destroyed and dismantled. and hence my sinister or satanic reading of these passages, because what we actually have here is the adversary seems to be coming in. So here we have some might say the questioning God, and um, in the Tower card, it's often interpreted as a paradigm shift, and the powers that be are falling, and something new will come in and take the place of that. And so this is one way to look at that Tower of Babel, one way to interpret that myth. Now, in the story of Jacob's dream, we have the story of an individual who envisions this gateway to heaven. And so, however this story arose or meant to Jacob as a person, of course, it has become calcified and crystallized in theology and rigid teachings, and it's become a national icon and taken this kind of shape. And so, like much spirituality that starts out fresh, it becomes stagnant, it becomes rigid and calcified. So I want to bring in the song Stairway to Heaven as a way of looking at this, because in the song, I'll read some select passages from the lyrics just to consider this idea, because in the famous song by Led Zeppelin, they describe two paths, and I think it's the same two that we see in these passages, the old structure and something new and fresh that's coming. And so the old structure needs an adversary and needs to come down in order that the new may arise. So first of all, we have the lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairway to heaven. So it's pretty clear that this stairway has become materialistic. She's trying to buy her way in, and it's in contrast to the songbird who sings and to the spirit that's crying out to leave this realm. Let me read one key stanza here. And it's whispered that soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter. And so here it says, if we all call the tune. So rather than the tune being called for us from some exoteric outside religion, we call the tune. And that's when the new day will dawn. That's when the forests will echo in laughter. A little bit later, we come to the lines, yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And these two paths are clearly contrasted for me all the way through the song. Another passage, the piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? So again, rather than the built-up structure, it's coming from the natural realm and perhaps blowing freely like spirit as the wind blows where it will. So I'm going to again crumple up and put these passages into my cauldron for further thought. And in closing, the last stanza of the song says, "And as we wind on down the road, our shadows taller than our soul, there walks a lady we all know who shines white light and wants to show how everything still turns to gold." So there's the white light and the uh, golden path there. And if you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last. And so the tune that's been referred to several times through the song is that which comes to you in the end. And so there's a fresh approach, I hope, to some old stories, some ancient mythic passages. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.